Hello, Namaste, and welcome to my channel, Spiritual Gina, where I encourage you to live from your soul. My name is Gina. Today I have for you guys an explanation of self-love. So just hopping right into it. I definitely feel that in modern society there is an emphasis on self-love, and especially, in the self-help community, we really hammer home what self-love, or hammer home the necessity for self-love. And I definitely agree with that, by the way, but I just never connected with it on an intellectual level, and even on like a body level, meaning like when people would say self-love, I understand the concept, but I would never get the feeling of self-love. And I also feel that self-love, at least in the modern self-help space, is more so connected to self-care activities. And that could be like baths and, romancing yourself and being the main character. Self-concept, well, self-concept is a part of self-love, but things like that again, I just did not connect with on an emotional level or on an intellectual level. So this is what helped me fully grasp what self-love is. I believe self-love is it's an aspect of self-concept, and more specifically, softening your inner critic. And now I know for me personally, I'm a musician. I'm also someone that goes to the gym, and I definitely come into contact with my self-critic, or my internal critic, whenever I do those activities. And I was thinking the other day, I'm like, holy crap, that is what self-love is. Self-love is basically softening your inner critic, and more specifically, working to expand your self-concept. So when we lack self-love, I feel that it's not because we don't love ourselves. I feel that we do love ourselves on a deep, deep level, but that love is overshadowed by an inner critic. And this inner critic is definitely negative, and it's most likely stems from parenting, as everything does, it seems, but it most likely stems from parenting, and then negative beliefs that you have internalized. So when working with self-love, and when working towards establishing a new sense of being within the self, especially regarding self-love, I feel that we can only access true self-love by softening our inner critic, and by, again, expanding and opening to a new self-concept. So it's like a two-part thing, because you do have to kind of know where like the critiques are, and also, again, soften and then create a new self-concept. And so I just feel that overall, that is what self-love is. Self-love is softening your inner critic. Self-love is establishing a new self-concept. And as I was saying, I am a musician, violinist, and I'm also a gym goer. And this is a recent download, but I definitely have come into contact with my own inner critic, and it can be so loud and so bombastic and just so like rude and what's the word I'm looking for? Cantankerous even. And so in order to access the self-love that we know, I feel we all know that we love ourselves on a deep core level. Like, so that's why I was always like question mark when it came to self-love, and I was like, this is bullshit, honestly, because I didn't really understand it on an emotional and intellectual level, and that is because of a negative inner critic. And so I would say, if you're struggling with the concept of self-love, then most likely it's because you have a negative inner critic. And so again, we must dismantle this negative inner critic and realize that this is probably an amalgamation of internalized points from parenting, even from peers. It's basically shit that you picked up, okay? And we have to unwind this by softening our inner critic, and then we must also overlay a new self-concept. So that is all that I have for this video. This one is really short, but it just straight, and to the point. Working with self-love means softening the inner critic and overlaying a new self-concept. And from that point, for me, I connect with that on an emotional level and on an intellectual level. So I feel that if you are having trouble with the concept of self-love, then you may need to start with your inner critic and your self-concept and go from there. So I want to thank you so much for liking, commenting, and subscribing to the channel. Check out my website to book me for any and all services, and I hope to be back soon. Namaste.